What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, there's a lot of reports and rumors surrounding a possible showdown at 154 that many people are inquiring and reaching out to me and asking me about the possibilities. And that's the possibility of former unified three-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer, who is a superstar, to say the least, still in my book, one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world, although he suffered a devastating loss in his last fight. And that's superstar Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr., who has 28 wins, 1 loss, no draws. Is 22 big wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. Errol Spence, we know, has now registered to fight at junior middleweight after suffering a tough loss to undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, now the reigning undisputed welterweight world champion, who is widely acknowledged and recognized as the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is 40 wins, no losses, no draws, 31 big wins by way of knockout. He is 36 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. They fought July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. And Terence Crawford, he dominated what was seen to be a 50-50 fight. Turned out to be not a 50-50 fight, as Terence Crawford dropped Errol Spence in the 2nd round, twice in the 7th round, and stopped him in the 9th round. And so with that said, they have a rematch clause that Errol Spence was well in his right to activate in 30 working business days from the fight. And he did. He activated the rematch. And Terence Crawford has the ability to and the rights to choose what weight class it takes place in, and is going to receive a bigger share of the purse. So with that said, we don't know what's going to take place with that fight. As Showtime President Sports Stephen Espinosa has stated that he don't believe the rematch is going to take place until 2024. He actually said late 2024, early 2024 at best. Okay, Errol Spence wants the rematch to take place in December. Well, we are already this October 5th. Today is October 5th, so we're already October 5th. So with that said, they're going to have to announce that fight soon. Now we know it's reported that both guys have started training and working out again. Is that an indication that it's going to be in December? Who knows? But now there's reports that because the World Boxing Council, President Mauricio Sulaiman, board of 32 members, have placed Errol Spence as the #3 top 10 ranked challengers for the WBC title at junior middleweight 154, as Errol Spence now as registered and is now acknowledged as a 154-pounder, that he can face off against another guy who just won a fight and is the WBC interim, champion and a mandatory challenger, and that's Erickson Lubin, who has 26 wins, 2 losses, no draws, 18 wins by way of knockout. He's 28 years of age. He's 5'11", with a 74.5-inch arm reach, and he's a southpaw as well. Okay, Erickson Lubin, he faced off against Jesus Ramos in what many people feel like is a controversial victory this past Saturday as the co-main event to Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo. He defeated Jesus Ramos via unanimous decision. Many people thought Jesus Ramos won that fight. Prior to that, he defeated Luis Arias. That was back in June of this year. And prior to that, April, as the on the card in April, he got battered by Sebastian Fundora in an action-packed fight and got stopped in the 9th round. We know he fought Jermell Charlo back in October 2017. He was knocked out in the 1st round. But Erickson Lubin is a very good fighter. So I rewatched the fight with Erickson Lubin and Jesus Ramos. Initially, when I watched it, I thought Jesus Ramos won the fight clearly. But after I rewatched the fight and I locked in, I thought that it could have went either way. I thought Jesus Ramos won the early rounds in the fight. I thought it was action-packed in the second half of the fight. But nonetheless, it could have went either way. Many people were screaming robbery, but after I rewatched it, I just simply did not see a robbery. I saw Jesus Ramos wasn't his normal self, being super aggressive. He's usually super, super aggressive pressure fighter that breaks his opponents down. He was not that because of the counterpunch ability, the hand speed, and the power and the foot speed of Lubin, who is also a southpaw. And Lubin was giving him problems with his movement in the second half of the fight. So it could have went either which way. Maybe we should see a rematch with Jesus Ramos and Erickson Lubin, right? But nonetheless, so people are saying now that Erickson Lubin and Errol Spence are going to fight if Terence Crawford and Errol Spence can't come to an agreement. So if Errol Spence and Terence Crawford can't come to an agreement, then we can see Erickson Lubin replace Terence Crawford. Now, what's ironic here is before a few weeks ago, Erickson Lubin, he in a press conference, he stated that he wanted to see Errol Spence, and he said that he was the perfect opponent, if there ever were one, to get Errol Spence prepared for a rematch with Terence Crawford, who predominantly fought against Errol Spence in the southpaw stance. Similar attributes, physical attributes, as Erickson Lubin is 5'9" with a 74.5, 75-inch arm reach, and Terence Crawford is 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach, and they both fight at southpaw. They both have power, fast hands, and fast feet. So Lubin is actually, I don't like the fact that Lubin said that he's a fighter that could get him ready, because essentially that sounds like, you are saying that you don't believe that you're going to win, but you can fight him and prepare him for a Terence Crawford rematch. I don't like that statement, because it's like you should be saying, well, I'm going to beat him. He ain't going to prepare for Terence Crawford because he won't be seeing Terence Crawford after I beat him. Terence Crawford will be having to see me. I could see if he was saying that as a sparring partner for Terence Crawford to help, Errol Spence prepare for Terence Crawford as a sparring partner, but not as an actual opponent, right? I do think Lubin would be the perfect sparring partner outside of maybe Erislandy Lara and Jerron Boots Ennis to help Errol Spence prepare for Terence Crawford rematch. But nonetheless, we heard that Terence Crawford was pushing for the fight to take place at 147, not at 154. Errol Spence post-fight stated that he wanted the rematch, hopefully to take place in December at 154. Terence Crawford went on to say, well, Errol Spence never petitioned and never demanded that the fight take place at 154. He just activated the rematch clause. And because he didn't tell the sanction bodies and neither did Spence that the fight must take place at 147. So many people feel like it's semantics, that Terence Crawford is just playing games at this point in time. Then it was reports that Terence Crawford was asking for more money if he does fight at 154. So nonetheless, we don't know what's going to happen with that fight. But it don't seem like Terence Crawford is very interested in that rematch because of the way he dominated the fight. And it doesn't seem like the powers that be are very interested in that rematch, because they don't believe that the fight that did about 600 to 650,000 pay-per-view buys is going to get or see a return on the investment, seeing as though we already saw how the fight played out, and many people don't think it's going to be much of a change or a difference in the rematch. So with that said, I don't believe that Showtime and Steven Espinosa want to invest in this fight. Okay. And Steven Espinosa, he's on record saying, listen, when a guy takes a tough fight like that, he needs to take time off, right? Again, how do you sell to the fans a rematch with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, especially if it takes place at 147, and tell the fans it's going to be different? That's a hard sell, right? It's an extremely hard sell. I just don't believe that the fans are going to believe in that. They're not going to accept that. They're not going to believe that there's going to be a difference, right? So Erickson Lubin versus Errol Spence is a very, very good fight for both guys. Errol Spence is a thumper. He's a pressure fighter. He's big. Lubin has longer arms, 3-inch arm reach advantage. I think Lubin is a faster, more twitchy athlete. Lubin has a lot of power, so that's a very, very tricky fight for Errol Spence, coming off of that brutal loss to Terence Crawford. Lubin is a counterpuncher with power, can move and accurate, and has boxing ability. And Terence Crawford movement wasn't that extreme, and it gave Errol Spence problems. Lubin is a much more mover than Terence Crawford is, and he's bigger than Terence Crawford, and he has just as much power as Terence Crawford. I think Terence Crawford has more power in both hands as he can deliver the power from any angles, but that's a tricky fight. That's a very tricky fight for Errol Spence. That's a 50-50 fight. So, but it's an interesting fight that I would definitely accept. If Errol Spence is not going to fight Terence Crawford, I'll take it. Let's make it happen. Lubin versus Errol Spence would be a huge fight. And it's no doubt they want to move Errol Spence up in the rankings as he's coming off of a stoppage bad loss. And immediately he's number 3 ranked in the WBC. So that tells you everything you need to know. But Lubin versus Errol Spence in Dallas, Texas would be a major draw and a major fight. So let's make it happen. I personally don't know how much truth is in this. I know Lubin and Coach Cunningham are more than willing to make the fight happen. Errol Spence has his sights set on Terence Crawford. It all depends on what Terence Crawford is going to do. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. I'm signing off. I'm gone. Peace.